Welcome to Geneva Peace Week 2021. Thank you very much from all of us. I'm Dr. Anna Grishting-Solder. I'm an architect and urbanist, and I've been working on border landscapes for many, many years. So we welcome you to join us to co-create this DMZ Incubator to seed a new future in the Korean Demilitarized Zone. This project is involving many different stakeholders, and we would like to invite you as well to contribute your ideas. As you will see in this video and digital product that we've created for Geneva Peace Week, we have been collecting visions, ideas from many people around the world, and also, importantly, from people in Korea and Korean women. So the idea of this space is that it should be located in or near the demilitarized zone, and we are asking also for your ideas. Should it be a garden, an infrastructure, a peace park? What kind of activities could we see there? What kind of activities are important to bring women together, to bring youth together? And also, how do we use this program and these new activities to create a new future for North and South Koreans? This project is also a seed. We want to create a real space in the DMZ. Therefore, we want to find out where we can build this project, where we can co-create this project. And for the future, then to see how it can seed the bigger idea that has been mentioned of a fifth UN office. And what would this be? What does it mean to create a future UN assembly? Also that would have different paradigms, which would also be more inclusive of all different cultures, more inclusive of women and youth. So we're also welcoming your ideas on this fifth UN office in the Korean Demilitarized Zone.
Welcome to Geneva Peace Weeks. My name is Carolyn Hanshin, and I am the director for the Offices for United Nations Relations for the Women's Federation for World Peace International. And we want to invite you to explore with us the idea of a project at the demilitarized zone in Korea between North and South Korea. Korea is the place where the Women's Federation has its roots, and we have been working for many years, when possible, different humanitarian activities across that border. A speech in the year 2000 at the United Nations, the Millennium Summit, by the founder of Women's Federation, Dr. Moon, there was an announcement of peace zones, the idea of using the areas between areas of conflict for peaceful purposes. From that idea within the Women's Federation, we started developing a small project, knowing that peace at the political level is very complicated and difficult. It needs lots of trust, which is also difficult. But peace between women and among women in building projects for development and reconciliation and rebuilding, reconstruction, all these kind of activities are actually very easily trust building. So we had an idea to create at the DMZ a small noyo, a small place where women could meet, and this could be the seed of a future peace zone, a park. Even the idea of a fifth United Nations headquarters could be located there, as there is not one in that whole region. Back in Geneva, here where we are now, we held a series of 4 Human Rights Council side events where this idea was proposed to different institutions, different organizations, different governments weighed in on this idea. So we want to take this opportunity now to really, in an effort to find more partnerships and to expand the conversation and to actually accomplish the goal of creating this place, we want to really invite you in with your many good ideas. Also, there's been a great effort on the part of women and partnerships among women in Korea to do things like go to the border. Women's Federation, we brought 740 women from the whole world together to go into and beyond the demilitarized zone to meet with the women of North Korea. We had speeches we shared about peace building and reconciliation, all of this as a forerunner or as a beginning to really accomplishing this final goal of actually having a place where we could sit and meet and work and build peace together.
Finally, in February 2001, my chance came. I was one of 10 women representatives from the Korean Women Leaders Association invited by the North Korean Women's Association to visit Pyongyang. With our continued efforts to help North Korean women and children without any political agenda, I felt the hearts of North Korean women leaders begin to open up. WFWP held the World Women Leaders Assembly in October 2007 at Mount Kumgang in North Korea. This was the first time for such a large international gathering to be held in North Korea since the division of the peninsula.
Based on the discussion from our survey, we considered 2 action plans. One of our action plans is to develop a platform in order for youth to communicate and share the ideas for reunification. In future, we hope that the platform becomes the place for South and North women and youth. Since now it is difficult to meet in person and interact with North Korean people, we planned the action that we could start at this time. So plan 2 is to launch a project to support North Korean women and youth. One is for South Korean and one is for North Korean. For South Korean women and youth, we thought education is the most important action for our next generation, so that we understand each other through learning our differences. And actual support is also important for North Korean people. For example, we can send sanitary napkins or make reusable clothes pads. In our survey, there are many answers and suggestions to support North Korean women.
In relation to the designation of DMZ International Peace Park, MGOs are expected to play a significant role in human rights and poverty, environment, and other issues in preparation for the reunification of North and South Korea. If establishment of DMZ International Peace Park will make various cultural and artistic changes possible. And it can be used as a place to create a new culture, inviting artists from around the globe. People from North and South Korea and around the world will receive a variety of inspirations from the new cultural creations from this site. Therefore, it is a good idea to turn DMZ into an international peace park that can serve as a place of peace and new life and promote its registration of UNESCO heritage.
Implementing an effective DMZ peace zone, women from both North and South Korea will help build trustful cultural differences, contribute to preventing future conflict, as women tend to know the ideas and plans of their husbands who are mostly in authority. This is because women are the primary caretakers of children, men, and elderlies in every country of the world. Imagine if there had been something like the DMZ peace zone for women in conflict, like that of the Sudan and South Sudan civil war. Female farmers and traders would have had the hope for a better future, a hope for peace that everything would be solved. Things like education for children, roles, and the economy, which includes a better workplace for women.
Good day. My name is Dr. Iris Totan-Katz. I am clinical psychologist and peace activist living in Israel, engaged in projects in Israel, Palestine, and beyond, in Rwanda, Bosnia, Native Americans, and other places. I was very, very happy to hear about the vision of the project of DMC. I must say that based on my experience and also on my PhD dissertation, I found out that peacemaking and reconciliation is based mostly on civic society and grassroots people. And out of that, I believe that making peace is kind of making a whole, composing and adding up all the pieces gradually, slowly and surely. And we women are the weavers, the main weavers of the puzzle, of the quilt blanket, which has to bring comfort and peace for our families, for our communities, and for our peoples. So thank you. Good luck.
Greetings. I am the head of the Geography Department at the University of Delaware and also on the board of the DMZ Forum. My idea for the forum's work has been to use the Convention on Biological Diversity, which both North and South Korea have abiding obligations to, as a means of functionalizing the DMZ. There could be joint projects which are specifically under the transboundary mandate of the Convention on Biological Diversity. So that should be a priority moving forward in terms of how this zone can be more productively used.
I dream to see one day women from South Korea and North Korea sitting together on the DMZ and talking about Taoism, that common cultural heritage which teaches how to live in harmony with the nature, how to cherish it, how to take care of it. And then, very naturally, they will design concrete plans how to protect the environment. And I know this is possible. It can happen.
The chorus reached its peak while singing the unification song together. As they sang with tears, all the participants' hearts were longing for the day of unification. While the North and South sang with one heart, the stage and the audience became a sea of tears. As the nearly 2-hour moving panorama finished with the end of the choir's song, it seemed the theater would rise up from the thunderous applause. Members of the audience came to the stage and gave bouquets to the little angels, embraced them, and shared joy together.
Hi, I'm Jisoo, a South Korean artist who has been living in Europe for the last 28 years, but I don't feel less concerned about bringing peace on the Korean peninsula. As an artist, I witnessed that art and culture can shape a desirable environment the most effectively. Therefore, involving artists and specialists in the project, co-designing a space in the Korean DMZ as incubator of peace is very significant, and it will provide challenges and changes to both Koreas to experience the universal values for coexistence. Therefore, I sincerely hope for the project to be accepted and come to a realization.
A peace zone would be an area where North and South Korean women can come together to share their passion for culture and art. It would be a zone where they can work together and maybe make art together or make music together or dance together, because North and South Koreans have common roots in art, and it would be a great opportunity if they can share that.
This very unique space will be essential to both individuals and communities who seek to exhibit their work and exchange and collaboration. NGOs, activists, architects, artists, and more will be able to share their expertise in the building of the space, as well as after when it is finished. I hope that once it is accepted, it can be an example and a platform for other similar projects internationally.
Hello, warm greetings from the Tempelhof in the Netherlands. 10 of these golden plants are part of the collective quantum art project, the unifying spiritual field of the world, an acre of peace. The 5th golden plant, as a token of peace, was already handed over in The Hague in 1997 at the International Peace Conference on Korea.
As artists, we sincerely hope that soon representatives of both sides will unveil the 5th golden plant on the border between North and South Korea, where it may serve as a global symbol of hope and peace.
Many thanks to all sisters of the Federation for World Peace International.
Hello, my name is Jimin Park. I'm South Korean living in Geneva. I'm very grateful for this project to reconciliate and develop relationship between North and South for the shared prosperity in Korea. Looking at the current pandemic situation, the world has become more virtual than ever before. We cannot anticipate when things will come back like it used to be. So I propose to create a virtual meeting arena, like online web meetings, for the youth, where they can share the difference of culture between South and North that can eventually bring back together a gap that has been made over several decades of separation. I think it could be an alternative or substitute to any other discussed physical platform.
I'm Marcia de Abreu and I'm a sociologist. I'm really pleased to address you about the DMZ project, which envisions the encounter of women from North and South Korea at a concrete space where they can meet and discuss their concerns in a peaceful dialogue and find ways to mutual and sustainable prosperity. As a sociologist, I learned too well that it's by working together that we can find ways to peace and reconciliation. If this project takes root and develops, people from around the world will have their eyes set on this area of the Demilitarized zone in Korea, which I had the chance to visit some years ago. It will be a beacon of hope to all.
The Korean Peninsula was in the center of my studies in foreign policy at the LMU in Munich and also in my final thesis. Therefore, I learned a lot about the policy of both Koreas and support peace on the Korean Peninsula with all of my heart. As a special project for the Women Demilitarization Peace Zone, I propose a cultural business project. In combination with my PETS, a foreign policy ecosystem approach, suggest an entrepreneurship factory, hub for Korean women from both parts of the country, in which they can learn entrepreneurship and produce product of cultural value and proud for all of Korea. They should learn new technologies. This project can be supported by the United Nations and also by both governments of Korea. The products can be sold online around the world. In this project, all components, policy, economy, technology, and society should evolve around the cultural business project. It can also be supported by educational and science programs online on a virtual base. I hope this project can be realized.
We envision the creation of spaces like the Home for Cooperation in buffer zone Nicosia in Cyprus, which will be a meeting point for educators, activists, and people from all walks of life.
A meeting point which can serve as a platform for the creation of spaces in people's hearts and minds for planting the seed of a culture of peace, so that it can blossom and be disseminated.
Greetings from Germany. My name is Nicola Hoag, and as someone with a Korean mother, Korea has always been close to my heart. The past 70 years of division in Korea have caused pain and suffering on both halves of the peninsula. I believe a fifth UN office at the DMZ with the purpose of peace building can be a seed for reunion and unification, not only for the North and South, but for the whole world. Korea will become a leading example for the peace that comes from the international community working together. If supported by the Security Council and the rest of the UN, reunification on the peninsula is a real possibility in the near future.
The Universal Peace Federation has been active over decades to foster peace and reconciliation on the Korean Peninsula. We believe that there is a need for a shift of focus of the United Nations and the international community towards Asia, particularly to the trouble spot of the Korean Peninsula with the DMZ. We could easily imagine that the idea of a meeting place for women in the DMZ, or a peace park, or a representation of international organizations could really be such a powerful encouragement for the peace process in the region.
Hello everybody, I'm Shruti Lekha Rajayalango and I am working as the assistant to the director of UN offices of Women's Federation for World Peace International, and I'm also honored to be their UN representative for youth empowerment and peace building. As you've heard about the project of the DMZ and how it has been envisioned, or it has been created to bring the definition of peace and the definition of peace and borders into a new dimension, a realistic dimension, bringing space into reality. So we ask for your input because we believe that in this project we achieve better results, better efficiency when we have the people's participation, the civil society, the young people, the women, the men, the children even. So please open up your minds and thoughts and play with your thoughts in our creative spaces online. So we are going to be sharing with you all the opportunity to post your thoughts on a virtual wall. So just open this link and go on this link and you will see a virtual wall on a platform that we're going to host for you. And if you just click on the screen, just click on the wall, you will be able to post your comments or your thoughts and also comment on the thoughts of the other people who are posting other thoughts. So we welcome you to post ideas and thoughts and more even developments or even good practices from what you have learned from various projects that you might have been involved in your region. We believe that learning from each other is the best way to progress, although we have experts who would be working very much in this project. But without the common, it would not be possible. So let us work together and get a great impact. So join us in this Peace Week workshop and let us try bringing this peace project into a greater reality. Thank you so much.